trying to kill the other guy. But all martial law wanted to do was win the tournament, so he get money and start his restaurant. And as the like Tekken 4, Tekken 5, like we started to learn more about his restaurant business. We found out like he wasn't a good cook, you know what I mean? And like it's just funny watching that kind of arc develop. He brought like Paul and Steve into the mix, and they became part of the business. So that's like my storyline character. I really enjoyed watching those, But as far as characters I like playing the guys that do a lot of damage. Those guys that just super bully people, because that's kind of like the way that I play. I'm really good at reading my opponents, and once I get a read of like how they play, then I try to take advantage. But yeah, definitely different ends of the spectrum when it comes to like my favorite character in the story and who I like to play stylistically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were just talking
about what you're saying here with Heihachi, like how he was ducking and moving just like what you said before. Like that makes perfect sense to me now.
Yeah. Guys, very, very evenly matched first round right here. Came down to it. I actually am familiar with the Heihachi player, Axis B-Boy. He's a long-time Heihachi player. I think he started maybe in the last Tekken game about like 6-7 years ago. And he's really, really dedicated. Like he's always trying to ask, more experienced players how he can get better. And that's probably the thing I like the most about him, is that he's always like working to improve. And he just wants to feel that sense of improvement. Like there's something to be said about learning something and being able to like execute it, perform it, and prove to everybody that you are getting better. So like that's just all he's about. Man. He's dominating right now.
I'm glad you brought that up, Anakin, because I think what a lot of players should do, aside from maybe complaining about the strengths of their characters or the lack of strength of their characters, is maybe be a bit more inquisitive on how they can think and play outside of the box. Because not all matchups are going to be the same for everybody.
Outside of their character, right? Just getting better as a player, and that way your skills with whatever character will improve no matter what, no matter how good that character is. So if you work on yourself, self-improvement, then you don't have to worry about, other characters or how you're limited. You won't be as limited.
Well, Danny B, aka Axis B-Boy, he's been putting in work so far. He has a nice 2-round lead here as we're going into the matchup against Machete.
He's trying to close out the game. I think he's going to do it.
One of the best feelings, though, and we were talking about this, like how, we obviously have a character pick when we want to win versus a character that we love. When you have that harmony where that character that you love to pick is also your best character competitively, that has to be a good feeling. Has that ever happened for you,
actually,
Anakin?
I was curious to ask you, Mark, like, do you have any characters in Tekken 7 that you feel you vibe with more than you thought like your original main was?
Yeah. So my main in this game is probably going to be Eddie, and I know that's probably going to be to the dismay of a lot of people online and in the chat, because Eddie has kind of like the stigma of being like a toxic character. But King is traditionally my favorite character. I love wrestling. I'm a big wrestling fan. So King has always been one of my favorite characters since the beginning, since Tekken 1. So I remember when I first saw King doing his plethora of just non-stop throws and non-stop attacks, and I just completely fell in love, because that was really one of the only characters at the time that was able to do it like that. And just seeing I guess, the homage and seeing the tribute that developers paid attention to, like the different real-life wrestling moves that we would see in professional wrestling, I thought that was so cool, just to be able to see that mimicked in a video game. And so accurately at that. So King is definitely my favorite character. I mean, when it comes to me playing online, I don't play online too much, but when I get serious about it, I definitely like to try to use King, but I obviously don't get those results. I mean, I played with Anakin a few weeks ago and I got beat up.
King is dope. Like, I think that's like the only character in throughout a lot of fighting games where you have the ability to do those multi-chain throws, you're executing the combos for the throws, and like, a lot of those moves little kids try to do to me when I was in elementary school. All those kids loved doing their DDTs, and man, it was crazy. So I think that's part of why a lot of people who are fans of Tekken are also fans of wrestling, because this was a game that did those characters justice. Like, you got the chain throws, you got so many, like, stylistically, it just looks like you are literally playing like any wrestler.
And that's a huge
There's
part.
A lot of people. There's a lot of people that I know, like, as far as wrestling wise, take inspiration from games like Tekken.
Well, I gotta ask you that too, because I know there's a lot of players, or a lot of people within your industry that love just video games and love playing Tekken in general. I know Austin Creed, Xavier Woods is a huge fan of Tekken as well. Do you ever get a chance to play with some of your fellow team members?
I do, but then Like, I'm a little bit of a hothead when I play, so if I get like, you know, especially going up against like Kofi Kingston, if I'm playing against him, he reminds me of my brother, where it's just constant with, you know, the talking junk the whole time, and I'm like, man, oh my god, I almost grabbed him. I was like, this is how angry you get me. But yeah, no, we love playing that, especially like when we were on the road. We got to play, like we would find a room, set up the PlayStation or the Xbox or whatever it was, and you know, we would get to play whatever game we wanted. So it's cool because, you know, for me, like I said, Zafina was someone that I was like, ooh, I like how she moves. She kind of like, it's almost and obviously